The biggest buzz at London Marathon this year wasn't just the racing, it was around Nomeo. It's a performance shot used by athletes like Cole Hocker and Conner Mantz. Nomeo is used before their key sessions and races, whether it's breaking the American marathon record or getting a world championship gold in Tokyo. What's also interesting is how widely it's being adopted, because it's not just by established elites. Emerging talents like Sam Ruth, the 16-year-old prodigy, swears by the product and is already making waves. Check it out for yourself at drinknomeo.com, and if you're in Australia or New Zealand, you can find it at Aid Station and The Running Company.
Okay, our next guest on the Inside Running podcast is the fastest marathoner we have ever had in our 480 shows or whatever. We've had a lot of fast ones, but no one as fast as this next guest. He's the American record holder over the half marathon and the full marathon. He has multiple NCAA titles, and I think he is a fan favorite in Australia just because of how good the YouTube content that's come out that he has featured in. Everyone has been following along. Welcome, Conner Mantz.
Thanks, Brady. Thanks for having me.
I know this is confusing. I'm actually Julian. I'm just on Brady's profile.
Oh, Julian.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I probably should have asked that first. I just saw the little thing. Thanks for having me, Julian.
Brady would have loved to be here, but I put my hand up for this one, and I won that little lottery. So, Conner, what's going on today? Where are you? What sort of time is it over there?
So it's 5 p.m. I'm in Utah, and not too much. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, we'll just get the sort of elephant in the room out of the way. How's the body going now?
Things are going good. I don't know why. I felt like I've battled more injuries in the last year or last 6 months than probably the rest of my career combined. Mm. Not sure, why that is, but yeah. I think I'm on a good path now, and I'm improving. I mean, I'm doing some running on the Alter G boost and lever treadmill. So yeah, just getting trying to get fit for a fall marathon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so all eyes ahead. What is your current injury?
So I haven't made this public. So I had a sacral stress fracture in November that took me out for 12 weeks, which was, I've had a sacral stress fracture before that had only taken me out for about 7. And then after recovering from that one in November, I trained for about 6 weeks, felt a little pain. The moment I felt anything, I just stopped running. Thought, after taking a few days off, I'd be back, and then got some MRI. I got a couple MRIs some weeks apart, and they're like, "Oh, you have some stress reactions," and then they were like, probably 2 weeks. Take 2 weeks off, and you'll be back. And so I took 2 weeks off. Still didn't feel good. And then after about 6 weeks, I was like, 5 weeks, I was like, let's get another MRI if that's okay with you, doc. And the doctor's like, sure, if it makes you feel any better. And ended up being that I had a sacral stress fracture that whole time. So what I've learned is with these two things, I don't know. I mean, so I had one on the left side with the doctors and the physical therapists and coaches think, because I started compensating on the right side. Developed one on the right side while trying to get ready for Boston, which was kind of weird to me. I felt like I was being a little reckless when I got the first one, and the second time I was being very cautious. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, getting injured back to back, same bone but different spots, and
Yeah.
I mean,
How
I've met with too many doctors and nutritionists and people to really feel like I have any. I feel like I know what it isn't, but I don't know what it is that really caused it. Um,
I
but
got some
yeah,
questions about that, to be honest. Like, because we've seen you, like, from the outside, we do see your training on YouTube and Strava. We get a good look behind the curtain, which we never really used to do with pro athletes, especially
yeah,
like distance runners. We tend to keep to ourselves a lot, or like, um, so everyone was like, "Oh, this Connor, he's a bit of an animal." Like with his training, and we get to see you in workouts, and there's something about you that we love because you just like rinse yourself out there, even in training, and then you see it pays off in the races. And we got to like translate you like training, I guess, quite like hard and high volume, and then we saw these brilliant results paying off. So I guess my question sort of immediately is around like the training philosophy you have. Do you feel like with these sort of back-to-back injuries, you might adjust some of that philosophy?
I think so. I think we're gonna have to. I mean, you don't want to adjust anything too much because you never know what other injuries might occur.
Mm.
But I think there's going to be something that I think right now it's just about building back up. But I think once I get back up to, like 125 miles a week, 200 kilometers a week, I think we're gonna adjust some things,
Yeah.
just to be a little extra cautious.
Yep.
It's hard though. It's hard to want to adjust things because you see Sebastian Sawe and other athletes running so fast, and you begin to be like, well, you know, I think I think what's hard is you see guys like even like John Career and his coach talking about how he's increased his mileage so much,
Mm.
and I want to keep pushing, I want to keep increasing things, but
Well,
sometimes your body has a limit. So trying to figure out what the right amount of a few things is. But again, don't want to change too many things because what got me injured also got me some American records on an Olympic team,
hmm
and got me fourth at the Boston Marathon and Chicago Marathon. So
yeah,
yeah, there's going to be some adjustments, but
yeah.
we're not. Oh no, we haven't gone over. My coach and I haven't gone over exactly what we want to do. We're just trying to get through the injury.
Is there like if you were a professional sporting team and the star player had back-to-back injuries, then there would be like board meetings going, "Where's the like why is this happening?" and sitting down and who's putting their hand up to take a little bit of almost responsibility for the time on the sideline. Is that happen within a professional running team?
You know, I think some people have taken some responsibility. I think one of my physical therapists kind of blamed himself when he shouldn't have. Um, I think with running, it's so individual, that you kind of if you're, how do I say it, like especially as a professional, but even as like like a sub elite runner, um, you should know your body well enough. As you're getting your workouts in, as you're doing your running. You should know how your body feels when you're ready to run well, and when you have an injury coming up. And so, I think I was a little confused the second go around. I think the first go around I was just being too risky.
Yeah.
Um, but the second go around, yeah, I mean I think there was a lot of questions, but in my mind it was like, well, I was feeling pretty tired and I was feeling pretty fatigued. But there's always that period in every marathon build, and all I needed to do was probably just decrease mileage,
Mm.
5%, and I would have been. I think I would have been okay, or maybe just push a little less. it's it's hard. It's hard to, it's a balance of how much do you push, how much do you rest and recover.
Mm. And like over here, we've sort of seen like almost an epidemic of more proximal bone stress injuries, whether it's femoral neck or sacral. Um, and the shoes have been a talking point around this, like the high stack, more rigid, rocketed footwear that never used to exist. And they've like, I guess the theory is that they're taking some load away from the ankle, the foot, the calf, but they're sending that load up higher. And that's why we're seeing injuries like what you have. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I had talked to somebody. There was some of the innovation and development team at Nike. We were I One of them had brought it up to me, and I brought it up to like one of the teams, and they said, well, what happens is people aren't getting the injuries they would in the lower leg,
Mm.
because of this, like the softer foam and the rockers and everything. Um, but so they push more, they increase more, and so they increase either intensity or volume more because the body allows them to, and so they're finding the injuries get pushed up
Mm.
because the shoe does they were saying the foam doesn't protect as much of the upper body. They haven't finished their study on that. They said that's what their theory is, but they're doing a full on internal study on that in Nike.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
good.
like, yeah. So hopefully we actually have some legitimate data soon. But that was what they saw just as as an observation. But now they're gonna actually test it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they
It's
said they'd
good
get
to
back
know.
to me
Yeah.
on it.
I feel like it almost like those shoes kind of hide the stress on the body a little more than if you ran in old shoes and you get sore calves after a workout. You'd sort of have a bit of an indicator. Maybe I'm not ready to work out again so soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
so instead, it's your femur and your sacrum and your quads. So it's just different.
yeah. Different. Yeah. And I mean, the shoes are obviously a net positive in terms of running, um, but I guess there's just some things that we got to be aware of, maybe.
Yeah.
So I saw a video of you out there at Heartbreak running company, and you're such like a star, like a rock star amongst the fans. And I was watching you taking photos with people and meeting and smiling, and I'm like, this must be so hard for this bloke who's had to withdraw from this race with injury, and he's obviously seen the weather forecast and he's seen the field, and like kudos to you for getting out there. That would have been a difficult thing, I imagine.
Oh, well, thank you. It was,
Yeah.
I think it was really fun for me to be there pre-race. I think, interacting with people, both like sponsors and just people that are running the race and fans was really fun for me. Watching the race, I did feel a lot of jealousy.
Mm.
Just, being out there, I went to three spots in the race. I was at 10K, 25K, and then the finish. And it was hard for me to not be out there, and just be like, I just want to be racing.
Mm.
But beforehand, it was, so many of the fans everyone was just very positive and encouraging. And so I don't know. I was happy to be there because people were so kind. It was a good experience for me to be out there.
Yeah, yeah. Brady actually, like the Brady that's listed here, he went and ran Boston, and he said the same thing. He said it was unbelievable the people in Boston and how much they get behind the event.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know if it's the marathon where I feel like the most people follow the event
Mm. Yeah.
who compete. For example, I remember when Kipchoge ran, I had heard that he had trouble anytime he left his hotel room.
Yeah.
He would go out for his training runs, and people would be stopping him. If
Yeah.
he left his hotel room, everyone would be stopping him for a picture.
Yeah.
He didn't even before the race. He didn't even eat with the elites because I think even the elites were just, you know,
Yeah.
being too much for him. But I'd heard when he went out for his pre-race runs. I was talking to one of the guys that ran with him one day, and he was just saying that Kipchoge just got mobbed the whole time. He couldn't just run on a running path because everybody wanted to see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I feel like Boston's where you see that the most, but also Kipchoge at that time, and I mean, still in my mind, is just such a like I don't know. He was so dominant in the sport for so long that everybody just really wanted a picture with him or to see him.
Yeah.
He really had that rock star status. So for me, hearing that, I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it in Boston.
Yeah. Well, just on Kipchoge, how do you think his legacy survives with this whole like world tour and running sub his best around the majors? Because we kind of feel like he like the memory of him being so dominant kind of fades when you see him coming 10th at majors and 15th at other races, and then like joining the back of the pack, not the back of the packers, but like the mid packers. What do you think?
Oh man, I think fame is fleeting, very
Mm.
much. But also, he was just not just like not just amazing. I mean, his first, I don't know what it was. Like he won 9 of his or first 10 marathons or something like that. Like
Mm.
he won so many majors, ran fast all the time with good conditions, bad conditions, or had 2 Olympic golds. I mean, I don't. His legacy in my mind is he's still, the best. I would say still the best marathoner of all time. I feel like Saway could get there, or other people could get there, but it was his dominance is what made him so impressive. Yeah, he had the world record, but he was just dominant. And so when he goes out and does this, I'd give him grace because he's old. I feel
He
like
is
once you
old.
pass 40, yeah, and once you pass 40, if you're still top 10 at a major, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like when he was like 20 or 19, he was one of the best in the world on the track. So that's a long time to be putting in hard workouts and miles.
Yeah. Yeah. Just with Boston, like in Australia, we really follow it, and it's been famous over here because we had like a winner, Robert De Castella, who was sort of top of the world, compete against Salazar back in the 80s. He
Nice.
ran 207 at Boston, and he was given the Australian record because at the time there wasn't this like course eligible stuff.
Yeah.
So we basically, even once the course became ineligible, he was the unofficial marathon record holder until it was broken recently. I was interested,
There's
like how Zuha Talbi's run has been received in the US, given that like it's 203. If that was in Australia, I think we would be like kind of giving it a record.
Oh yeah. I think from what I've from what I've seen, a lot of people are giving it a lot of yeah, I would say a lot of people are, I guess I haven't been at many events, but a lot of people have been like counting that as the record. But also, I don't know if I could be wrong on this. I don't know if Zuhair or Charles are eligible for the record either. So it's kind of a weird, like, it's
Okay.
not a record eligible course. And then I think they are still waiting on their change of, what is it? Change of, not citizenship, but change of allegiance. So
Yes.
everyone is, the people I know are kind of acting like it's the record. Well, not people I know, but things I've seen when I get on social media. I've kind of
Ah,
avoided social media since
yeah.
being injured just because I knew I was gonna feel a lot of jealousy. Um, but yeah, it was just he ran incredible, and I don't know. I think a lot of people do understand that yes, there was a tailwind. It is net downhill,
Mm.
um, but he still ran 2:03 for the 26.2 distance, which is very impressive. So
Well, I mean, in
uh,
contrast, I feel like Americans, they understand it a lot. Like it's a lot clearer over there. Like I'd never heard of someone saying Ryan Hall had a record, and
yeah,
I hadn't heard or seen anyone saying Talby would ran a record race. So I feel like you guys are a lot clearer in your distinction that this was not an American record by any means. So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel like you're
I
still the
guess
king there.
yeah. I mean, it's times are great, but it's trying to it's about who you beat and where you place is the
Mm.
long term thing. One of my really good friends and training partners, Kenneth Rooks, he's uh he's dealt with some injuries, some pretty bad injuries over the last 18 months or so. And I always joke with him. I'm like, you have an Olympic silver medal. No one can take that away from you. And he's like, well, you have an American record. And I'm like, yeah, but somebody could come up and beat me with that, or beat me or pass me up any day. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's podium finishes or championships. That's what the I think the big goal is for me personally. But I'm happy I have the record. Not
yeah.
bummed at all to have it, but I know it can be taken away anytime.
Well, let's move on to the record because we all love talking about our good days out there. So I listened to a
Yeah.
podcast and it sounds like you did a tempo run for that record.
Oh man, I wish it felt like. Well, I don't know. Early in that race, it felt very um, tempo-esque. I think Chicago's such a fast course that I think every time I've ran there, I've been very focused on time that I've never like got into the grittiness of just competing. I think I've always been like, let's just keep going. Let's just get on pace and hold pace. Um, yeah, I don't know. The record. Yeah, I look back at it and I'm like, there's some things I wish I would have done differently, but it was still, um, I don't know, it's a good day.
Yeah, and the training leading in, was that indicating that you were in American record shape?
Yeah, I think so. I was in great shape. I'd done higher mileage than I'd ever done. I was living. I did a stint in Park City, which is about an hour and a half drive away from where I live. Um, so I was living at just over 7,000 feet, and I think training was going great. I was having some great workouts, but
Yeah.
yeah, everything was very indicative of I was going to run well. Um, but you have to do it on the day. If you can have the best training in the world, but if you get sick or the weather ends up being really hot,
Mhm.
you can it can go the other way. So I think based off training, my coach and I had the goal of trying to break 204. Um, the pacing was a little all over the place. It was I don't know. I think our first mile was 4:30, and then we had some miles. I think 10 and 11 were in the 4:50 range, 4:55 range,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to think. 4:30 is
It's
like
fast.
yeah, it's like a 250. No.
It'd be like a
If
240 or something.
Yeah, it'd be like 248 kilometer, I think.
Yeah, right. That's yeah.
Yeah, so just too quick, and then we were running other times we were running over 3 minute kilometers. So we were just varying too much. I think in the early stages
Yep.
that like it was funny. We we're pretty much separated. There was a pack behind us that we separated from, and I think they caught us at 12 miles. And it was just like we had just gone out too fast, and then they had gone out a little fast as well. But then we slowed down so significantly that they caught up to us. So
yeah,
I think I even split it through half, it was pretty close to even splitting it through half. But I think the pacing that was all over the place just kind of made it hard. And then at the end, it was a tailwind, so I ended up running fine. But
mid-race, do you give the pacers a little bit of a spray? Like, do you give them a talking to and say, hey, fellas, like, you're paid to do a job here. Like, you're way off.
I've done it in the past. My first 2 Chicago marathons, both in 2022 and 2023, I was very, I was a little like, let's get going to the pacers. In 2022, I think we'd had a few kilometers that were like 2 seconds slow, 3 seconds slow, and maybe as far as 5 seconds slow. And so I told the pacer, like, let's get going. And at 10K, he was just like, I think he was so frustrated that I kept telling him we needed to speed up that he just stepped off.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that was my first marathon. And I was like, well, this guy didn't do a good job, but so I ended up leading the pack I was with, and for most of the race, and then eventually a Japanese guy broke away from me at the end. But I ran a great debut, and then the next year it was actually Zuhair was my pacer.
Oh yeah,
and he did a good job after the first 5K, but our first 5K was like 25 seconds slow, and I was like, what's going on? But the hard thing in Chicago is you're in the first 5 kilometers, you're in such a big city, and you go under a bridge that like you got to go off field. You can't go off your watch. And I felt like we were just slogging it. Like we were just chilling that first bit. And I remember like getting to like 2 miles and I didn't see the front pack anymore because we were so like, because that's when Kelvin Kiptum ran 2 hours.
Wow.
And so it was like this just insane race where, you know, the front pack went out guns a-blazing, and our second pack went out super slow. Then we ratcheted it down to like, I don't know, we had some 5K stretches that were in the 1440s, which was like 205 pace.
Yeah.
And maybe even in the 1430s. Anyway, it was just too quick for me. So I don't know. You gotta be okay with it. So this last time, I just let it, be like a duck on water's back, just if they were off, don't stress about it. Just keep running, because the other 2 times I'd stressed too much about it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it is hard at the pace you're running, it's hard to find 25 seconds over the course of like the rest of the race, really. Like it's, you're so on the line, aren't you?
Oh yeah. It's, yeah, if you're slow, or if you're like much too fast, and for some portions it's just hard on the legs to like, I guess if you're a little slow, the legs aren't too bad, but trying to make it up can get really I don't know, can be really hard on the legs.
Let's have a quick break to talk about Nomio, because it's something that I've been looking into recently. The concept is pretty simple. You take it about 3 hours before a hard session or race. It's made from broccoli sprout juice, which contains an active substance called ITC. ITC has been shown to help reduce lactic acid buildup and oxidative stress during high intensity efforts. What's interesting isn't just that sessions can feel smoother, it's what happens over time. If you're able to handle hard workouts better and recover more consistently, you can stack quality sessions. And that's really where performance gains come from. Over the past year, we've seen many elite athletes start using it. guys like Cole Hocker, Conner Mantz, and Andreas Algren. Andreas, who has had a huge season last year with his triple European records. I was so intrigued by the research and the results of Nomeo that I reached out to the team to learn more. And after trying it myself, I can only wonder about what part they played in all the records that were set at London Marathon this year. If you want to check it out yourself, it's at drinknomeo.com. And if you're in Australia or New Zealand, you can find it at Aid Station and all over at the running company.
Yep. Just on your training, Connor, there's this massive trend now to be using lactate monitors and doing double threshold workouts and follow the kind of Norwegian type method, very scientific, dialed in monitoring of training load and intensities. Do you do any of that?
We don't in our group. I think, our coach is pretty old school. He was running he competed in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think where he justifies not looking into that too much is when you compare like the best in the world, they're not doing it. As far as the marathon goes. Mm-hmm. Maybe a lot of people on the track are, and maybe that's what we need in the marathon. But I don't think Sebastian Sawe is pulling out, a lactation monitor. I think there's some pros and cons to it, but I think the pros probably outweigh the cons. But it's also like, just if you can know your body, then you should be. You should know what you need to do. And I think that's kind of what we're going for in our group, is just know your body, know how you feel, always keep the pace in check. Yep. But I also understand, I wouldn't be opposed to trying it out. But I also look at, again, like the East Africans, and some of them are just running hard. Like when they do a workout, like you can read about their, I know Kipchoge had posted a blog, like all his training for one of his Berlin marathons, and it was honestly not too different than what we were doing as a college team when I was at BYU. And it was higher mileage, higher intent, like faster, and like bigger long runs. But like the workouts, the type of workouts were fairly similar. I don't know. And then I've heard some of his workouts. When I was another time talking to the Nike development team, he did something like, it was like 13 by 1200 and 64s. And it just sounded insane. They were at a higher altitude than us. And I'm like, I don't think Kipchoge's over there, just maybe he was just chilling in that workout. Again, this was like at the height of his career. But it was, hearing a workout like that, it's like his lactate, I would imagine, is through the roof. I feel like if I did that workout at sea level, and like peak fitness, I feel like I could finish it if there was enough rest in between everything.
Yeah.
But like, and maybe I'd need to taper a little bit, but like, again, lactate's going to be through the roof. It's not going to be, whatever it's supposed to be.
Well, you had years of injury-free running, as well as so much success. So it's hard to sort of look at it. For you, the grass is not greener when you've got so much good growing grass on your own pitch.
Right.
Yeah. The training that you're doing, like with Coach Eyestone now, has it changed much since what you were doing at college?
It's yes and no. I say I'm not doing 400 repeats as much as I was in college. We would do that. I probably do it once a year now. And we slow it down. In college, it was always 1,500 meter race pace, 400 repeats and we'd do like 8 of them with about 90-second rest. And that was that workout would always floor me. But now I feel like if we do it, we're doing like 12 of them. We're doing it closer to 3K pace and, 90 seconds, sometimes 2 minutes rest. So it's similar, but like we do longer stuff. So in college, we didn't do any, we'll do a lot of pickups in our long runs. We'll do them between half marathon and marathon pace. And we'll do that, we'll do it. We'll finish with 2 miles left to cool down, but we'll start it, at mile 18 sometimes. We'll go for 4 or 5 miles or start at 19. And in college, our max long run would be 20 miles, no pickups. We were, I don't know, sometimes there was only one time I can think of where we averaged sub 540 as a group. But most of the time it was pretty, like we were running close to 6 minute pace, and it's about 340 per kilometer. Now, we'll get down to like 520s, which is like 320s per kilometer early on, and then we'll add a pickup, and it's a lot more intense than college was. And then we'll do a lot more longer workouts in the week. So if in college we were usually doing, if we did 1,000-meter repeats with a minute rest, we do 10 of those in college, and now it's 12 of those, and we'll run them faster than we did in college. So I should rephrase that. Some of the workouts are different. Some of the workouts are the same, just longer. But then we also are, taking out a lot of the track specific stuff and just adding in marathon specific stuff.
Yeah, cool. You were the face of the Vomero Premium when it came out. I adored how you called it the anti-gravity shoe. Like we use that a lot in I got a couple of shoe stores over here. We use that as the marketing tag, the anti-gravity shoe. What does the prototyping process look like on your end, given you play such a big part with Nike?
Yeah. Oh man, I can tell you a lot about it with the Vomero Premium because they gave me. I was really involved in that one. While for like some of the other ones, it's sometimes they'll send me a pair of shoes. They'll ask me some things, or when I'm on campus for another event, they'll say, "Hey, can you run in a pair of shoes?" And then tell me and then we'll switch shoes every mile, and then you tell us what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
But for something like the Vomero Premium, I was going through an injury at the time. I mean, this is kind of in the video Nike posted. I was going through a stress reaction in the femur, and Nike, I was on campus they had a pre-Olympic trials camp for all those who were Nike sponsored or Nike affiliated athletes who had qualified for the Olympic trials. And they were, I don't know, they were probably 15 to 20 of us there or so. And it was a really cool experience, but Elliot Heath took me aside, or maybe it was Ashley Campbell, one of the people at Nike was like, "Hey, we're making a shoe that might help you out, and as you're doing this," and I was doing most of my runs on the Alter G or Boost at the time, and so they gave me the shoe, and I'm like, "So what is it?" And they're like, "Well, it's kind of like a shoe to help out with pretty much Alter G-ish. And it's more like it's a great transition shoe from moving from the Alter G back to ground running." And anyway, so they gave me that, and I did my first long run in it, and it was my first long run back on the ground, and I did 4 miles. I think I started I did my pickup, and I started at 4:39, which is about 10 seconds faster than I was probably supposed to start, and then I just cut it down to 4:32 or 4:29, somewhere in that range, and I just felt like I was just floating. Now, part of me wonders if that was the tapering with it, and because I was, coming off an injury, so I was a little more fresh.
Mm.
But it was kind of a confidence booster, and so that shoe was to me pretty special. I emailed Elliot Heath and I said, "Could you make this into a racing shoe? Um, like, could you like instead of the Alpha Fly, make it like, can you make this the next Alpha Fly?"
Mm.
And at the time, it was quite a bit different. And they said, "Do you think it's faster than the Alpha Fly? Like, had you done the same run in an Alpha Fly, do you think it would have been faster?" And I thought about it and I was like, "Oh, probably not." But like, it was very soft, very easy to run fast on. And so eventually they're like, as we were talking more, I was like, well, they're like, well, if you're doing your fast stuff, why don't you just do it in a super shoe? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And at the time it was, I think, 43 inches or so. So it was overstacked, but not as much
Yep.
as it is now.
Yep.
And so as we talked more, it was like, well, they kept sending me prototypes, and I was like, well, what if you made it bigger? And I didn't have this issue, but most people did. A lot of people kept rolling their ankles in the first prototype that I had, because it was a lot thinner. It was pretty thin,
Yeah.
and so people were rolling their ankles quite a bit, and so they made it really wide. And so it wasn't just my recommendations, but it was that from others. And so I'm like, yeah, I guess making it wide makes it more of a recovery shoe. And then I was like, well, just like, what is the limit on how tall you should make a shoe? Was something I kept asking, because I was like, the World Athletics has the limit on 40 millimeters for racing, but like, what's the best if this is going to be my everyday trainer as I'm moving to back to running on the ground and getting in normal shoes again and getting in race shoes? I kept asking, like, I kept just asking questions that were like, what about this? What about this? And then they'd either answer my question or they'd give me a shoe that is somewhat similar, and then they'd ask me feedback on them. So I think I was given 5 different prototypes of the shoe, and I was kind of nervous because I think on the like 4th one, it took a turn for like the worst.
Oh, right. No.
Like, it was this like great shoe that just like kept improving, and then like the 4th one went down, and then like the 5th one they fixed it, and it like went back to like an improvement. I was like, so I have one pair of them. It's funny, I've sent all the prototypes to Nike a couple times, and then they keep sending them back, so I get to keep them.
Oh.
But I have one pair of them that like it just went down, and I was just like, I don't know what you guys did, but this shoe just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
What
about that first prototype? Like, that sounds like they should make that into a model.
Yeah. Well, so I think it was the risk of people like rolling their ankles. But also I ended up trying it again. Like, I actually tried it again for the Chicago build for a long run, because I was curious. I was like, is this going to be better than the Alpha Fly? And after trying it again, like for like a fast day, I was like, it's good, but it's not better than the Alpha Fly.
Yeah. You got good memories of it though.
Yeah. I think it was exactly what I needed heading into the Olympics and the Olympic trials, but it wasn't. I think they were just worried about, people twisting their ankles, and I don't know. Some people kept running in it on like trails, and I don't know why. I could only run on like bike paths. If the road was crowned, it wasn't good. So, but I mean, it's a great shoe for me. It was kind of funny. It's like the first model or the first prototype that I received. The upper was just a Vomero, like a Vomero 17's upper, just stitched to this, this piece of foam with tape all over it so no one could see it.
Like a Frankenstein.
And yeah. And then the bottom of the shoe was like just like a simple mold that they just like we're just gonna put like a mold from something else on it. It wasn't even like a specific one to that. It was just like let's just get the simplest mold. What they were really just testing was the foam,
Yeah, yeah.
and does like more foam and more air make the shoe bouncier, and so it's a great shoe. That's probably a lot more detailed than you were wanting, but
No, that's
yeah, they'll,
good.
they'll
Like,
send.
yeah, we call it the old man shoe over here.
Yeah, you
Gets
call it the
people
old
off the
man shoe.
ground. Yeah, because like the old guys with the calves that are all banged up, they just can't get off the ground, and that shoe just gets
Oh
you off
yeah,
the ground so easy.
yeah. I think it's my go-to shoe when my legs are trashed now.
Yeah, it's perfect for that.
It's yeah, it's kind of moved to that route. I don't use it on long runs anymore, but it's my go-to shoe when I'm like fried.
Yeah. um, I got some more funner stuff here,
Yeah.
just to get to know you a little bit more. Like, what happens on Sunday if you're not running? What do you get up to?
Um. Do my family does like a family call.
Oh
So every
yeah,
morning, and we have at our church we do there's like a study guide for like some scriptures to study that week. So we're in Deuteronomy right now in the Old Testament. So it's a little different. The law of Moses type stuff, but we do that in the morning, and then we go to church, and we're at church for a couple hours, and then we come home, and I don't know, something always happens, whether it's dinner with the neighbors or something going on with family or extended family.
yeah.
It's
You
a good day for me to just not think about running.
yeah, just a tune out. Turn the volume down.
Oh yeah.
What are you fan of any other sports?
Oh man. I don't follow any other sports near as much as I follow running. I think I'm getting really into being a fan of running more than anything else. But
Yeah,
I'll watch any sport live is
same.
awesome. Whether it's
Yeah, yeah,
American football or soccer would probably be my favorite to watch live, but or football. I guess I
yeah.
don't know. Do you guys call it soccer?
Soccer, mate. Soccer, because have you ever been to Australia?
I've never been to Australia now, but I
Oh,
know
well,
there's
we got,
Australian
okay.
football.
Well, that's what we call football or footy over here. So
Okay,
we're we're big on calling it soccer,
awesome, awesome.
just like you
Yeah,
guys.
so
Yeah.
yeah, any sport is fun to watch live, but I don't usually turn on other sports on the TV.
The who do you have on your bedroom wall on a poster growing up? Who was the hero?
Oh man, um, I had like I was like Meb Keflezighi, Brian Hall, and
Yeah.
a few others from like there was a race there was a high school race I went to. They had a bunch of pros there, so pretty much anybody that was at that race. So it was like Alicia Montano was on it or was at the race. So I had a poster of her.
Yeah.
Um, Meb Keflezighi, Ryan Hall. I'm trying to remember because I know there are others. I think like Alan Webb might have been like on my wall too.
Hmm.
Um, Trying to think like the Torres brothers.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
How
I
about
can't remember.
that Ryan Hall, Josh Cox? I reckon Meb was in a few videos. Those guys were the OG YouTubers. Like
Really?
there's a video up there of Josh Cox and Ryan Hall running through Mammoth Lakes. Like Josh Cox runs like 50K, and it's hot, and the car's following. You'll have to. I'll flick you the link on that Instagram message. It is
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. It is amazing viewing watching those two just out hurting themselves, and that was like the only video of running that I could remember finding on YouTube for ages. It was so good.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
those guys were impressive. They were very grindy.
This video shows that for sure.
Really, I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to look it up.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Who's
I've seen it. And I just didn't know it was Josh Cox with Ryan, but I'm gonna look it
at,
up after this.
at the end of the video? Josh Cox like recites like a poem or maybe something from the Bible at the very end of the video, like off by heart. And I don't know, like I'm not like a religious person, but I thought, oh, that's this like saying that at the end of running 50K, and it just seemed so like powerful.
Oh yeah,
I'll flick it to you. I've probably got it
yeah.
saved. The banter within your long run group, like we see you running with a group all the time. Like we love that. Like we're big on groups over here. Who's got the best banter in the group?
Oh man, it's gonna be people. Well, probably a guy named John Cotter, but nobody knows John Cotter. Um, do you know Michael Otteson?
I've heard the name before. I'm not aware of
Yeah,
him though.
he has a little YouTube following. I think he's around like 215 or 213, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
He was a college teammate. So like, it's funny. Our long run crew is kind of open invite. It changes. Some days it's open invite. Some days it's not.
Yeah.
I always like more people to run with because it's nice to catch up with people. And then if you're feeling, if you're feeling good, you can speed it up and run with less people. And if you're not feeling good, you can slow it down
Get
and
rid of
run
a
with,
few.
yeah. But their long run crew can be pretty fun. Yeah, the banter. John Cotter will get you to laugh.
What sort of topics you're rolling through out there? What keeps coming up?
Oh man. Now, I mean, it's been a minute since I've been with them, but I mean, some of it, like everyone talks about the most random stuff. Like, it can be anything from like investing and people buying homes to trying to think. There's a lot of lawyer jokes because there's a few lawyers that'll run with us on
Oh
Saturdays.
yeah, yeah, good.
Um, then yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we always make fun of like the richest guys in the group. They'll just cop it for a while.
Oh yeah, that kind of happens with the lawyers.
Yeah.
A bunch of
Um,
ambulance chasers, and then they're like, no.
uh, when someone came to you and said, "I've got something for you to try," it's like a bunch of ground up broccoli sprouts. What were your first thoughts of that?
Oh man, I'm a big skeptic of everything. I don't know if that's a healthy thing or an unhealthy thing, but I was a little like, okay, like, what is this? Is it actually going to help me? And then um, at first I was like, well, I'm not even going to try it because I know supplements are so there's like such a high chance of contamination with drug testing. So initially I was like,
Mhm.
I'll wait. And then it wasn't until I had some former college teammates that like were talking it up quite a bit, like Rory Linkletter and McKenna Myler. I guess I wasn't teammates with McKenna, but she also ran at BYU. Now we currently train together, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Rory was talking it up, and so I know Rory always does his research, and uh, so yeah, it's funny. I asked him about it and tried it out myself. But yeah, initially I was a little skeptical because I was like, broccoli sprouts. Is it gonna be is it gonna be like beetroot or is it gonna be
Yeah.
like I don't know, something else that I've already forgotten about. We always hear this is the next big thing.
Hmm.
You hear that a lot, and so you always want to try it, but you're always like you can't you can't jump on every next big thing because there's a new big thing coming up every few months.
Yeah.
So that was my initial thought, but having used it, I when I was training for Chicago is when I started using it a lot because it was like I'd have to drive like an hour and 15 minutes to get down to where workouts were. So it was easy to, wake up, take it, and then be ready for workouts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, just to finish off, mate, congratulations on the news that you're going to be a father.
Thank you. Thank you.
When
Super.
which month is your wife due?
July.
Ah, very good. Yeah, that's exciting. And going to be a boy? Did I see on Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to have a boy. So
Lovely.
maybe we'll
Yep.
name him Nomeo Mantz.
You're
No, that
going to
would
have
be.
to ask for a lot of money for that one, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah. What will you guys pay me if I name my child
Yeah.
after your company?
There was over here. We had a sportsman who changed his name to a cat food company. Legally changed it for a week or something. Called himself Whiskers. Um, I hope he got paid a lot for that.
Oh man, that's insane. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you got a name pegged away, or you still going
We're
through
thinking
'em?
about a few. We have a few in mind. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, we're excited. We thought, we had somebody, there's somebody I was talking to at church. His wife just gave birth, and they had told everybody the name that they wanted, and then when the baby came, they just felt differently, and so they decided a different name. And they said a lot of gifts had been embroidered or had the name written on them, and when they
Yeah.
changed the name, it was kind of like, well, this is we
Yeah.
don't know what to do with this, so we're keeping it quiet for now.
Nah, I like it. Things can change. Something comes to you. There's a lot of emotion in that room. There's a lot of stuff going on, and sometimes it just feels right. Sometimes you look at the
Oh
kid and
yeah,
go, you're not a Billy. You're actually a Joel."
yeah, right, right.
Do you reckon it's gonna like? Have you got plans on how you might adjust your professional running life around the new lifestyle?
Oh yeah. It's honestly a little scary because I like to race a lot, and I haven't been racing very much recently due to injury, and then the American record attempt we kind of didn't do as many races as I wanted because I wanted to be ready for that. Um, I'll probably race a little less, just so I can be home and make sure the kid's doing well and making sure I'm involved. Um, but I think my wife's just gonna have to deal with most of it. To be honest, I mean, I'm gonna definitely adjust, but
Yeah,
she's uh she's ready for it and she's willing and she's super excited to make sure that the kid grows up well, but she doesn't want to take away too much from my career. So I don't know. I'll be whenever she wants to exercise, that I'll be watching the kid then, and whenever she needs to do something with friends, I'll be watching the kid. But
yeah,
um, she's kind of, I mean, for the most part, volunteered to do a lot of the waking up in the nighttime. I'll definitely be doing it some, but
yeah,
she's kind of put it on herself that she's like, I'll be doing it most of the time, and um, which is super helpful when you have a spouse so supportive. And then the oh, and but yeah, so the biggest adjustment is going to be just spending a lot of time with the kid instead of I don't know what it's going to take the time of, but
yeah.
I don't know. I have some
Well,
good mentors, so
the good thing is you can just lie down and let them play all over you for the first year or so. Anyway,
yeah,
you're not on your
that'll be a
feet
good
too much.
adjustment.
Yeah. All right, Connor. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Like
Yeah,
we're
thanks for having me.
massive fans of you over here, and we always love when content comes out and you're in it. Um, and yeah, I feel like the way you train kind of resonates with how a lot of Australians train, like a bit old school.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. I really like the Australians I've met in the running world. They've been really fun to chat with. Um,
yeah,
I at World Cross Country Championships in 2015, I believe. I've talked a lot with Brett Robinson. He was on the senior team of Australia at the time, and
Yeah.
just kind of, it's a, the, I don't know, the attitude of a lot of the Australian runners is just awesome,
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
fun.
we punch above our weight in the distance world,
Oh,
according
yeah.
to our population. Maybe not in the marathon, but on the track, we're especially ladies on the track are really killing it.
Oh man, you guys got a lot of very talented guys.
Yeah.
All
right.
I feel like in the marathon, you guys do great too.
Well, part of the debate we've been having is just after the London and Boston is like the Americans and the Brits are coming through so strong, and we haven't had those sorts of breakthroughs in our country, and we're just wondering, what are you guys doing? We're not.
I don't know. I feel like it's coming though. I mean, after Boston, I couldn't believe, how many people ran that fast. I don't know how many Americans had broken 206 before that day, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine it was more than 4 or 5, but now it seems, that we probably have like 10 guys who've broken it. So sometimes you just need the magical day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Australia needed it all coming around Boston, and then they would have, some of those guys would have ran 205.
We need a downhill One Direction race, and just just call everyone up on a Thursday night when you see good conditions.
Yeah, right.
All the best with the injury, Connor, and for July to you and your wife as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I just want to end this episode with a quick shout out to Nomeo. After trying it in my own training, I'm convinced, and every elite athlete I follow also seems to be on it. Using it before hard sessions or races is a game changer, and I can't imagine doing one now without broccoli in my veins. You can find out more for yourself at drinknomeo.com.
Doesn't matter if it don't come back. Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. I keep holding on to the hope that all the suffering was for something. Something for something. When it's said and done, all your words and all your hate don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Under